want to look at win rates of top players. Like one thing that is crazy, by the way, if you go and look at like top players' win rates, it is pretty crazy. Like I was looking at my win rate. My win rate's like pretty good, but a couple of the win rates of some of the players are like completely insane. Like frickin' Gray has like the most ridiculous win rate in the past like little bit. Like if you look at Gray's games of Agricola since like let's look at like January 1st. Actually, let's do January 15th. Let's do like January 15th. If you look at this, you look at finish games only. Freaking 24 out of 34 wins. That is absurd. That's so crazy. 24 victories out of 34 is completely nuts. I was like looking at this a little bit because I was like trying to get a bearing on like, hey, what's like the average win rate of a player? What is that? 24 of 34 is nuts. Like there are, all these are ranked too, I think. I think like all of these are, almost all of them are arena games. Like there might be some unranked stuff in there, but yeah, they're just all arena games. This is just like a crazy win rate. This is ridiculous. Stupidly high win rate. Very, very ridiculous win rate. I mean, I think that, yeah, on average, yeah, average win rate is 25%, right? So this is a like 66% win rate, which is ridiculous. 66% win rate's insane. Like it completely trumps like everybody else. Like I think mine is hovering around like 50%. So like if you look at my win rate in the past little bit, if you look at my games history for Agricola, then if you look at it since, we'll do same thing, January 15th. Finish games. Yeah, I'm at 46 of 96. So yeah, I am just like I am not super high win rate. I'm below 50% right now. That's actually not very good. But like the thing that I have going for me actually that I've found is that like I've been on a little bit of a win streak recently. But yeah, if you look at my games though, I have a lot of like seconds here. There's a lot of second places. Like there's very few thirds and fourths. And I pride myself on that. That in rating stuff that actually matters a lot. So I have very few thirds and fourths here. But yeah, my average score also is 51.3. Gray's a little bit higher than that. It's like a 51.5, which is a little bit higher. But yeah, hovering around like 52. I don't know why it says that our average scores are similar, but his victories are like way higher. It probably says that like he just got luckier. or he drafts in a way that blocks other people or something like that. I should look at the average score in games. Well, so averaging across players is it has to just be 25% because 1 out of every 4 player wins a game, so it has to be 25%. But yeah, it is ridiculous. But yeah, Silent CJ is a. Let's look at Silent CJ. I haven't looked at this. I don't think it's a lot of games played. Yeah, I don't think I've looked at this. Let's look at Agricola games from same time frame. Let's do 15th. 33 out of 56. That's a pretty good win rate. Oh, I didn't sort by finish games. 33 out of 51. Average score of 50. Average score of 50, pretty high. That's a pretty good score. 33 out of 51. That's pretty good win rate. That's like a 60% win rate. That's pretty high. That's also really high. Do only play async games. Async games are an interesting beast. I don't really know much about the async scene and like how good it is. I should look at the average score. One thing that would be interesting to look at some point is look at the average score in like CJ's games versus the average score in this game. Like look at this. We got a 57, 39, 32, 29 here. That is a low average opponent score. Or like here 49, 39, 34, 33. Like that is like a game where 40 like easily wins, or like a mid 40 easily wins, is a pretty soft game. I think that like we're getting to the point where it's getting a lot more competitive, right? So if you're playing against opponents where their average score is like sub 40, you're going to win such a high portion of those games if you're averaging 50. You look at their games history. So like here I have like Lumen. You just go to games played. You go to their games history here, and then you just sort like this, and then you can sort of see some stats about it. It's not going to be 25% because they play different numbers of games, but every game has a winner. So if there's 103 games. Oh wait, so if you average win rate across players, why would it not be 25%? But that doesn't make sense. But the oh, I understand what you're saying. Okay, I got it. Because basically, like, if my denominator of average game of games is like different than yours, then my win percentage might be like 23%, like 20% across like 20 games. But if your win percentage is like 50 across like 100 games, that's like an average. But I think if you combined every single player in existence, well, but then the average isn't going to work. Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. It's not going to be 25. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. I agree. It's going to be something different. I don't know how it's going to work, but it's going to be something different. Like we're definitely getting to the point with like live games that like, or with like these games that like, well, the top players are all like if we look at Lumen and we look at Agricola stuff, Lumen's been on a tear recently, by the way. Lumen's been killing it. Lumen has been absolutely killing it recently. Yeah, so if we look at like January 15th, look at finished games only. 51.5, 35 out of 55, like another 60%er. That is really insane. And yeah, like if we look at all of Lumen's games, like you got 68, 56. Like if you look at the scores, 44 win. Oh, this is an unranked game though, so I'm not going to give it as much credence. But yeah, like 62, 56, 51. Yeah, like all these games to win are like, you know, above, like you got to get above 50 to win basically. And that's the way it is now in the ladder. Like, you just have to get above 50 to win. If you're not getting above 50, you probably are not going to win. So, yeah. So, like, you have one game that's below 50. It's unranked as a... Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, there's solo games ranking in here, too, and that's going to script the average. Having a 108 and a 114 is 0. Like, it probably averages out to about right. But, yeah, we can take that with a grain of salt that's the case. Oof, a last place, brutal. 39, that's brutal. Yeah, like that's how it should be, right? Like at 39 you get last place. Like when you compare this to CJ's games and you look at some of the CJ stuff, like we got 41, 41, 39, 34. What the heck? 48, 44, 36, 29. Like these are crazy scores. These are ridiculous scores. You have 52 and it was last. Yeah, that is ridiculous. Yeah, like these are some low scores. These are some really low scores. 45, 39, 39, 38. Yeah, like, maybe I should be playing async games. Although Hilberry's like a good player. This is actually a good table. This is a good table. This table is not that bad. I've heard of these players. This is not that bad. I don't think this is that bad. That table is not that bad. But yeah, like, a game like where everybody else is like in the sub 40 range is a soft game. That like if everybody's sub 40 and you're not sub 40, then that's a soft game. Like I probably win like 99% of those games if every other player is sub 40 at the table, like, and their average is sub 40. I'm probably winning like 99% of those games because like on a bad game, I get like a 40. Like the worst games that I have are going to get like a 40. In a really, really bad game, I get like 40-ish. So like even my worst games, if everything I do goes wrong, it's going to be higher than that. Okay, there's some real games in here. This game, 49 got second. That's about right. That's about how it should be. 37, 30, 70, 70, 43, 24, 24. Yeah, there's just like some crazy stuff. Yeah, let's keep looking at these. These are fun to look at. Let's look at Rainier's. Rainier's average. It seems fun. Let's look at Rainier's average on Agricola since January 15th. Finish games only. 22 out of 33 is crazy. That's a clean 66% of games. That's actually nuts. Rainier has also been on a little bit of a tear, but Rainier just like doesn't play very much for some reason. I mean, Rainier's on Rainier's own thing. What's my highest score? I think it's 70. I think it's 70 is my highest score. I think that game is on screen. Yes, I did play already. Yeah, I played already. I'm just doing just reviewing some stats because stats are fun. Yeah, that's crazy. 53.8 average is completely absurd. That is a really high average. Are there any like solo games in here either? Or are these all ladder games? I think they're all ladder games. That's nuts. That is a crazy average. Yeah, that's a nutty average. That's a crazy average. How far back do you have to go before that lowers? I'm just curious. I'm curious if this is like a recency thing. Like what happens if I go back to the first, it evens out a lot. If you go back just like 14 days, it evens out a lot. This is like more reasonable, I think, for an average. Rainier's just been on a tear recently. Rainier's has been on total tear, and they have a lot of variation because they haven't played too many games recently. Highest solo game, I haven't done solo games at all. At some point, maybe I'll try and do a solo game that's high, but yeah, for now, I'm not gonna try and do that. Rainier has been on tear recently. Rainier and Lumen are on tears recently, dude. You love to see it. Love to see the streamers getting some love. I've also been on a little bit of a tear recently, although admittedly I just play a lot of games, and so like when you play more games, all of your variance like evens out. Like this victory ratio, like 46 over 96, is not very good, honestly. Like I'm a little sad about this. Like below 50% is like a little bit sad to me. My average score is very high. Like this is a pretty good average. I'm pretty happy with this. Like it could be a little bit higher, but I'm pretty happy. Anything above like a 50 for average score is like pretty good. But honestly, I think that like I get into a lot of games with like a lot of really high scores. Like this game, I got a 57, got second place. I got a 60, I got second place. There is some correlation between scores. Let me also make that clear. But yeah, like this 43 third is bad. 49 second place. Like this game, I got 42, got second place. That's really lucky. Yeah, I've had some bad games recently. 51 second place. That's a little unfortunate. 54 win. 49 second place is fine. 52 second place is a little bit okay. Like I'm cherry picking obviously a little bit, but like 57 third place. This was a brutal game. 57 third place was a totally brutal game. I remember that game. That was rough. That was a rough game. But yeah, there's a bunch of games in here that like 59 second place. Yeah, there's so many games like that in here that I get like high scores and get second. It's very unfortunate. But it happens sometimes. It definitely can happen. So I feel like I've been on the bad end of that variance recently, but also there's like 46s where I get second in here, and that's like to be expected. So yeah, I had a period in here where I was just not doing great. So, but that's what happens. Like sometimes you just like take a little bit of a time to adjust to the meta, and that's what happens. So. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to look at stats. It's very, very interesting to look at stats. Is there anyone else who's interesting to look at? I wanna look at like someone who's a little bit lower and see what like a representative average is of someone who's a little bit lower on this. Like let's look at a 1600 player who plays a lot of games. Like who's a 1600 player that plays a lot of games? I've seen Pungaboo a lot. Let's look at Pungaboo's average. I'm just curious. Let's look at Pungaboo's average. I know Pungaboo plays a lot. So I'm just curious what their average is. Like, what's the difference between a top 5 player in terms of average and a not top 5 player? Oh, 48. 48's actually pretty good. That's higher than I expected it to be. That's pretty good. Man, 17 over 50, that's rough. Dude, Agricola is so hard. Yeah, having an average score of 48 is like not bad. Like this is not a bad average at all. Only having 17 victories for 50 tables found, that feels bad, man. That's got to be some bad variance. That's got to be some bad variance. Oh, they lost to me a bunch. Lol. Pungaboo losing to me a bunch. LOL. Feels bad. Well, that's what happens when you run to the master. That's what happens when you run to the master. Yeah, there's a. Oh, 33 in here. 33 in here feel is not great. But yeah, that's not a bad average at all, honestly. Yeah, like look at all these last... There's a couple last places in here. Because that's not a bad average at all. It's really not. Maybe it's like high... maybe it's like a high variance score? Like one thing about my scores is that my scores are not very high variance at all. Like I tend to have around the same, like I tend to be around a 50 most of the time. Like I'm never too much higher above that. I'm also never too much lower below that because I'm very plan oriented, and as a result I sort of go with the plan of what my plan is. But yeah, it's possible that like if you have a bunch of really high highs and a bunch of really low lows, and that's a lot worse for you in the ELO system. So that's what it looks like. Yeah, top 10 is rough. I mean, even for me, it's rough, and I am in the top 10. So it's definitely rough. It's definitely a hard thing. Yeah, because like if you're averaging 48 on your games, like if your average is 48 and you're matching up with someone against who's like 51, then you have to be on the correct side of your bell curve in order for you to be able to beat that, and you have to beat the 2 other people at the table. So like if you are, you have to be on a really good side of things. So yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Yeah, because like 48 average, like last season I would have said like 48 average, like that's got to be like top 20 at least, like or top 10. But like this season it's just like, oh yeah, it just doesn't, it doesn't matter at all. Because yeah, that's like not bad at all. I consider 48 to be a pretty good average. Like 48 average, and that's pretty good. Like there's some things you can work on obviously, but that's pretty good. Yeah, let's just keep going down the list. I'm just curious now. I'm just curious. Zizak is interesting. I want to look at Zizak's average. I'm curious. Because Zach plays a lot. Zach was at the top for a while. Zach went on like a really hot streak for a while. But I think Zach's been on a little bit of a downswing recently. I think Zach has had to take some breaks for work or something like that. Let's look at from the 15th. Let's do that. 79 over 145 is not too bad. That's above 50%. That's better than mine. Average score 51.3. That adds up to everything. Second place, third place, second place, second place, second place. Yeah, they're just on a little bit of a bad swing. Ooh, fourth place. Yeah, they're just on a little bit of a bad swing. But like honestly, their average is not that far below. They just had some bad variance in here. Because yeah, having a bunch of lasts, having a last is hurts your ELO so bad. Having a single last place hurts, and then you can't get wins. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just can't get win. Well, 30. If you get 39, you're not going to get a win with that score probably. If you get 39, you're probably not winning with that score. So yeah. So all right. Well, this is fun to look at. Yeah, maybe I'll post this on YouTube as some analysis of like, hey, this is what a average score is for a player who is like a top 10 player is like a 50-ish. Oh yeah, let's look at RageNet. Yeah, let's look at RageNet. Where's RageNet at? RageNet does not. So RageNet was the winner of the previous season. They didn't play much. They have not played much as far as I'm concerned for this season. But yeah, let's look at RageNet. Rainier by far has the highest average, but honestly, I think that Rainier's average is a little bit recency biased. But yeah, let's look at RageNet average. I'm very curious. January 15th. Wow, 42. That cannot be right. Oh, finish games only. Okay, that's why it's not right. Oh, wait, that looks better. I forgot to check finish games only. Woo! I was like, what, a 42 average at RageNet? What the heck? What happened to you? That's like when you look back at your childhood hero and they've grown up and they're just like they're not the person you remember them being. That's what that felt like. Wow, winning with a 41, that is huge. Imagine winning with a 41. That sounds awesome. I want to win with 41. Burger M is not a bad player either. I don't think Mudhand's a bad player either. 49.3 is not a bad average. Like, it's not a great average, but it's not bad right now. Not terrible. Did they have any, like, solo games or anything weird like that? No, it's like all arena. All arena games? He has all arena games. Yeah, I mean, it's not that high. It's a little low. For this season specifically, I think that's a little low. I think that, like 51 to 52 is what like everybody else is. Like if you go back to CJ, right? What was CJ? CJ was 50, little on the lower side, but then they play a lot of these async games that I think are a little bit weaker, it looks like. Ooh, a 7, rough. 48.4. Yeah, like 48.4. Oh, across 5 games. Yeah, you probably have to widen the range of games to get it to be a reasonable range, because like you want to have an accurate sample, right? So you want to have an accurate sample. So yeah, I think around 51 to 52 seems right. Yeah, Lumen's 51.5. I'm 51.3. Rain. We're gonna ignore it. We're going back a little bit for Rainiers because that. This feels better. 51.5 feels a little bit better. That feels a little bit more reasonable of an average. 53 is a crazy average. Rainier's just like solved the format, which that would also be shocking, but it's possible. I wouldn't put it past Rainier's. Rainier's really good. So, yeah. All right, cool. All right, that's all I got on rating stuff. So, yeah, what's your average? Hopefully, I think it's interesting to look at. I think that like honestly, if your average is like. Averaging 50 is hard to do, but like you have to be pretty on top of your game to average 50. I mean, if your average is in like 45 range, I mean, if we look at someone who's like really, really low on the ladder, like that's the next thing that I'm curious about. Like, let's just go like super low on the ladder. Let's just go like, let's go to the bot. Like, what's someone? I mean, even like someone in the 1600 range had like a pretty decent rating. If we go all the way like down here. We go all the way down. I pick someone random, And once again, I'm not doing this to pick on anyone. I'm just curious, honestly. So if you're the person I picked, I'm very sorry. So Simon, I've seen at a lot of games, a lot of tables. So this person probably plays a lot, right? So let's look. I see a lot of games. Agricola. Since January 15th. Yeah, so like average score of 35. So like this is a person who's 6 of 75. So like it's like you know, when you get down to this far, it's like okay, there's some things that you can work on in your game. So finish games only. Yeah, finish games only. Yeah, it's still it's a 40. But yeah, like I think if your average is around a 40, then you could say like, hey, there's some things that you need to work on. There's definitely some holes in there. There's definitely some holes if you're at around 40. And clearly looking at the rating and looking at the, you know, the victories per table stat, like there's clearly some things in there. So, you know, not to pick on them or anything, but 45.7, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. Like it's just like 50 is like pretty consistently good. I think if you're getting to 50, like on average, that's pretty good. That's pretty insane. I mean, even if you're like slightly below 50, I think that's fine too. Some players are very aggressive in blocking other people, and if you're more aggressive in blocking other people, your average is going to be lower. Like I think Lumen's average for a while was like a lot lower from what I was looking at, and I think this season, like I've not seen Lumen like try and block things as much. Lumen's just been doing his own thing, and I think that honestly Lumen's average has increased as a result of it, and also as a result, I think Lumen's getting more wins too. I think that Lumen is blocking things a lot less this season. I've seen that a lot less. So yeah, it's just that stuff. Oh, additional space is enabled is a good question. I just like, oh man, additional space has changed a lot. I don't actually know. I haven't. Is there anyone here who play? Is there anyone? I don't know anything about additional action spaces other than like you just try and family grow in round 5 and you set up for that. One thing I want to do on stream at some point is I want to play additional action spaces games at some point just to see what it's like and see if it's like a fun format. It seems kind of interesting. Like I would be interested in trying it for a little bit. It's way worse than traditional Agricola because like cards like, you know, Carpenter's Parlor and things that let you build rooms are just like way too strong. Need to find out play. Hey, you don't have to play if you don't have to. Enjoy Agricola however you want to enjoy it, honestly. Just enjoy Agricola however you want to enjoy it. If you are having fun and you're averaging like whatever you average and you don't want to work on your game, do it. Just have fun. Having fun, the most important thing. Especially with Agricola. Agricola is such a fun game. Have fun with it. Fun is the most important thing. Winning is secondary. I always play Agricola to have fun first and foremost. Like, winning is fun too, but I try and have fun first and foremost. Fun is my most important thing when I play Agricola. Like, winning is the secondary thing. Winning brings me fun, but, like, if I had a good strategy and I played it well and I had fun with it, that's what I value the most. So, yeah. If you're averaging 40, you're having fun with Agricola, play more Agricola. Do it. If you don't like playing Agricola, you just like watching it, watch Agricola. That's great. So, all right. I am. If this is a YouTube video, I'm ending it here. So take care, YouTube. Goodbye, YouTube. Everyone say goodbye, YouTube. I think this is a YouTube video. Goodbye, YouTube. So yeah. Let me know what your average is if you want to improve it. I don't know. Maybe I'll do some more strategy videos on it. Yeah, I'll do some more stuff. So yeah. See you, YouTube.